Hey guys, in this video we're looking at, I guess, the importance when you are using Pythagoras theorem with measurements to make sure that your units of measurements are the same. And so you don't want to be working with a triangle where one side is in meters and the other side is in centimeters. You want to make sure that the units of measurements are consistent with each other before you actually continue. And then afterwards, depending on what the situation is, if the question asks you to convert your answer into a specific unit of measurement, you're able to do that. So this is just a recap from our previous chapter of measurement. So going from kilometers to meters, you should know that there is 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Therefore, you want to multiply. So if, for instance, there was 1 kilometer, you would have 1,000 meters, okay? If there was 3 kilometers, you would have 3,000 meters, okay? So it's just a matter of multiplication. Obviously, if you were to go backwards from meters to kilometers, you would then divide by 1,000. So if we had 2,000 meters, divide that by 1,000, you would get 2 kilometers. Okay, so moving along, if we had converting meters to centimeters, there is 100 centimeters in every meter. Therefore, to convert from meters to centimeters, you're going to multiply by 100. And same thing, if you're going to go backwards, you do the opposite of multiplying, you would divide. And then lastly, if we were to convert from centimeters to millimeters, you should know that there are 10 millimeters in every centimeter. And to convert back from millimeters to centimeters, we're going to divide by 10. Okay. The other part, I guess, for you to be familiar with is at this point is we're going to move, let's say, when we're moving the decimal point, we're going to move it to the right 3 places, okay? We're going to move it to the right 2 places, and we're going to move to the right 1 place. Obviously, when we're dividing, we're going to move the decimal place 1 unit or 1 place to the left, 2 places to the left if we're dividing by 100, and 3 zeros. 3 zeros would then indicate 3 places to the left of moving the decimal place. Okay, so there's just some quick, I guess, reference points that you should be familiar with for this particular part of the chapter. If you're not, then it's something that I would suggest that you would revise over. So here are just a couple of examples, a few examples, just to show you what to do in regards to the measurements. And simply, what we can see with the first example, both units are in meters, so that's fine. We don't need to change anything. We can simply go straight into our Pythagoras theorem. C squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Noticing that we need to work out what c is. I'm going to put 394 here. And okay, so a 3 squared, b 4 squared, and we are working out what c is. 9 plus 16 is equal to 25. Okay, and then to work out what c is, the same thing as previous videos, square root both sides, c is going to equal 5. And because both units to begin with were in meters, therefore our final answer is going to be in meters as well. Let's say the question asks you to put it into centimeters, then what you'll do is you'll convert the unit of measurement at the end. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We can see that we've got meters and millimeters. Obviously, it's not right, so we need to convert it to the same unit of measurement. I'm going to convert it to meters, okay? So remember, moving the decimal place 1 to the left is only going to convert it to centimeters, and then another 2 spots is going to move it to meters. So what we'll have is 2.84 meters is the conversion of that side. Okay, now that we have both sides being equal, we can then continue to work out what the hypotenuse is. So 5.6 squared plus 2.84 squared is equal to c squared. Happy for you to use a calculator at this point. We got 31.36, and then 8.0656 is equal to c squared. I'm going to add that to 31.36. We have 39.4256 equals c squared. And to get c, we want the square root of both sides. Okay, so the square root of that number is, and I might write it up here, c is equal to 6 and I'm going to round it to 1 decimal place. Okay, 6.3, and then my unit of measurement is in meters because that's what I've converted it into. Now, let's say the question asked you to convert into millimeters, and rather than converting this at the beginning to millimeters, I would still continue doing what we did before, purely on the basis that we're working with smaller numbers. Okay, if we were to make things bigger, then it would just make things probably a little bit more vulnerable to mistakes. So what I would do is convert everything to a smaller value and then reconvert back into, I guess, the unit measurement. So for example here, if we're going to convert back to millimeters, it would be 6,300 millimeters to be the answer for this question, if that's what it's requiring from the beginning. Okay, let's move on to the last one. We've got 2 sides, obviously different units of measurements, one in centimeters, one in millimeters, and we'll convert to centimeters. In this case, the numbers are bigger, but the process doesn't change. Okay, just because they're bigger doesn't mean it's any different. So 394, let's convert this first to centimeters. Dividing by 10 makes it 438 centimeters. Okay, so 394 squared plus 438 squared is equal to c squared. And so 394 squared is a very, very big number. Actually, what we'll do, I'm going to continue with this and I'll show you why I want to make it smaller to begin with. So we'll go 155,236, and then 438 times 438 is 191,844. Now you can see that we're dealing with much larger numbers, and if you're rushing things, or if you're scribbling things, or if you're let's say your handwriting is not all great, there is a potential that you would lose a digit or mistake a value, put something wrong somewhere, and get the wrong answer. So square root both sides, we'll end up getting c is equal to 589 and I'll just put it to 2 decimal places, 589.13 centimeters. Okay, now let's do it the other way. 589.13 is our answer, and you can decide which one is quicker for you. Really doesn't matter to me. So what we'll have is 3.94 meters. Okay, so dealing in meters, and then 4.38 meters. Okay, so what we'll have here is c squared, and we'll have 3.94 times 3.94. Now, the only downside to this is that you're going to be, I guess, rounding things off, perhaps, along the way. Maybe your answer is not going to be as accurate. But it is still an approach worth considering. So 5.5 plus 19.2, you could see that the value is already much smaller. 34.7 is equal to c squared, and then we want the square root of that, which gives us 5.9 is equal to c. And this case, it's in meters. If we're going to convert that to centimeters, then what we'll have is 589 centimeters to be that size. So from our previous approach, it was 589.13, couple of decimal places off, not such a big deal in this stage, and both quite valid approaches. It just depends on whether you'd like to and confident with working with very large numbers or smaller values. You can pick and choose your approach. Okay, hopefully that helps. I'll see you in the next video.